Thank you for the very warm welcome. I think I'm supposed to sit, but sitting here looking out, I figured it wasn't the right way to start this relationship by us starting in a low block. The one thing that every one of us has a limited amount of is time. And so on behalf of Parag, Fraser, Patrick, and everybody at the club, we really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us today to have this important conversation. Last October, I got a phone call, and I will never forget exactly where I was when I got the phone call, because I think it's a moment that has changed my life. And the phone call was, would you and your group have an interest in investing in Rangers? And I said, absolutely. And over the last however many months, this has been 9 months, there are a lot of different things that are attractive and fantastic about this club, but I find myself talking about 3 more often than anything else. And those 3 are first and foremost you, the supporters. It is an incredible supporter base, and it's not just the numbers. Millions of supporters, I think 600 supporter clubs worldwide. I think the club sold over 400,000 kits a year ago. So massive, massive numbers, but it's also the depth of the passion. I know that for many of you, being a supporter probably started in the womb. You were born into this, and it's something that you feel right here in any conversation you have with a supporter. So the breadth and the depth of the passion of the fans is the number one thing that I love about this club. Number 2 would... Now I'm going to be self-conscious. If you don't clap when I say something, I'm going to assume that didn't land as well. Number 2 would be Ibrox. I think of that as our castle. It is an incredibly tough place to come and play as a visiting squad, and that is fantastic because it gives us a competitive advantage. And then on the flip side, it's a magical place to be there as a supporter. So number 2 would be Ibrox itself. And 3 would be the competitions in which we play. Every year, we get to compete for the league, 2 cups, and we get to play in Europe. And those are incredibly special things. I think if you look at football clubs around Europe, most clubs would love to have one of those 3 things, and yet we are lucky enough, fortunate enough to have all 3 wrapped into one. And so those are my top 3 things why I think Rangers is so special. I mentioned the competitions, so let me be clear about our ambitions. Our ambitions, and then Parag and I wrote a letter that was published, but I want to repeat it. Our ambition is to put the club in the position to be able to win the league and the cups and be increasingly competitive in Europe each year while operating in a financially self-sustaining manner. I want to go back and just sort of talk about the 2 nuances that are embedded in those words. So the first is I was plural, so I said titles and cups. It is not Parag or my intent to come, try to throw some money at this, win a title, and go off into the sunset. We want cups. We want sustainable winning. So that's nuance number 1, is that this is something that is long-term. The second thing that I mentioned was financially self-sustaining. And I think that's really important, and I think everybody here knows that this club has been through some tough times financially over the last 10 years. And it is our goal to make sure that the club over the next, not 1 year or 2 years, but over the next 10 years, is in a self-sustaining position. And so it's sustained winning and winning sustainably. Those are our ambitions. And how are we going to do that? I think there are really 3 things that are important to achieve those ambitions. The first is resources, mainly financial, but also intellectual. The second is the team. And I mean the squad on the pitch, obviously, but I also mean the team that's not on the pitch, the staff, the overall club. It is incredibly important that we continue to attract the best talent in the industry if we're going to build and rebuild the infrastructure and the culture of this great club to create that sustained winning. And the third is the plan. And I used to say strategy, but I've stopped saying strategy. Every football club has more or less the same top-line strategy. Grow revenues, reinvest in the club, buy low, sell high. Right? Everybody says that. And so that's not enough. What matters is how you execute the plan. And so it's really the execution of the plan that matters. So those are the 3 things that matter: resources, our team, the people, on and off the pitch, and making sure that we have the right plan to execute that will get us to our ambitions.